Hey guys, I know it's been a while. You recently saw a video from me, and here's another one. But as you can see, all around me, it is raining. Yes, I'm in Los Angeles, and this is unexpected, and it's ruining my plans. As you can see by the title, Halloween filming locations. But I don't know how much I'm going to get done. I only have the day to do this, and I'm only here once this month, and this is the one time I'm here, so this is my only opportunity to make this video for you guys. I thought this would be great because I've done Halloween before, but I've never done an extended filming location video. I want to hit up new locations that I never did before, and also some of the old ones, because how can you not go to the Lorie Strode house and the Michael Myers house? You got to do all of it. So anyways, that is the plan, but I don't know because it is currently raining, and I mean, yes, it gives it a creepy vibe, but not the creepy vibe I was looking for today. So I'm gonna do my best to to get around and do as much as I can. So just keep that in mind. Be kind in the comments because I'm already irritated. Anyways, I'm gonna see how much this gets done, so stick around. So welcome to Pasadena, where most of Halloween was filmed. And right now I'm standing where the Michael Myers used to be, which was right across the street. So I'm gonna show you guys the opening scene that opens up showing the Michael Myers' house. So I wanna show you where the location used to be, and then we're gonna walk over to where the Michael Myers currently sits. Yeah, so cool to be here again. All right, guys, so I'm sitting right in front where the Michael Myers used to sit. The house, it was actually a very historic house. It was built back in, hold on, let me double check, 1885, and it was set to be demolished. Right behind me, there was a set of I think it was 6 homes, all historic homes, and each day, each one by one was being demolished. The day that the Michael Myers house was going to be demolished, a man named David Margrave saw that it was going to be demolished, and he stopped the bulldozer from tearing it down, and he spoke to the owner, and he was able to buy the house with a silver dollar. And he didn't have anywhere to place the house, so he had to figure out where he was going to move the house to, and eventually the house was moved down the street where it sits these days. And that happened in, let me see here, I have some information here, in 1987. And 1987 was when the house was moved over down the street. So we're gonna go over there and of course take a look at the actual Michael Myers house. Okay, so the movie begins and they're talking about Halloween night 1963, and what you're seeing is a tree, which I believe it's this exact same tree. Then the camera moves over and you see a glimpse of the Michael Myers' house. So this is where the Michael Myers house used to be. So you'll see it right there, and then they zoom into the house. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys the location because this is where originally where the house was. Yeah, so like I was saying, the house set right around here, and after the house was demolished, this was all an empty lot for about 15 years until, let me see, trying to see what year they built the house, or they built these condos. I can't find it, but I want to say it sat empty for about 15 years. So yeah, so let's go over to the Michael Myers' house, shall we? If you guys saw my first Halloween 1978 filming location video, you would remember this place. This is a museum They're closed today, which is sad, but I came here and I didn't know that this place was here because this is the Michael Myers house. And yeah, I came here. Look at Michael Myers back there. Hold on. Let me see if I can zoom in. Look at him back there. Anyways, this place is awesome. I was hoping that they were going to be open today, but unfortunately they're not. Freaking love this place. If you're ever visiting the Michael Myers' house and this place is open, make sure you go. I think the admission is $20 maybe. I don't remember, but when I came it was like $5. Anyways, cool place. All right, so here I have arrived at the Michael Myers' house. Here's the side of the house here. Okay, so this is Mission Street right here. This is Mission Street. It's really hard to not find this house. You'll be able to quickly find it. I mean, it's historic and it's known as the Michael Myers' house, so trust me, you won't have a hard time finding it. But this is the address. It's 1000 Mission Street. Yeah. And as you can see, this is a Century house now for financial services. And I believe inside it is split up into 4 units. But look how cool. They put a pumpkin here. That's freaking awesome. That is awesome. I mean, knowing that Halloween is just around the corner, it is freaking perfect. Look how awesome this house is. So yeah, so this is where now the Michael Myers house sits. And I'm going to run the scene of that beginning scene when you first see the Michael Myers house. And yeah, just show you guys around a little bit. All right, guys. So here we are at the Michael Myers' house. And like I was saying over on the other side where the house used to stand, the lot after the house was moved sat empty until 2004. And I couldn't remember that earlier. So yeah, it was 2004. Look how beautiful this house is. I'm gonna run with you guys the scene in the beginning of the film. And basically they're showing the house and everything's at night. So obviously it will look a little different, but Michael Myers' sister is inside the house with her boyfriend and they're making out, which I believe would have been over here. And you see the camera move over to the side where Michael Myers is looking through the window. Then he turns to the right and then comes back over here, looks up this window, this light comes on, and then he goes back around all the way to the back and goes inside the door. So I'm gonna just try to recreate that as much as I can. All right, so in the beginning of the film, it opens up here at the Michael Myers' house, and it says Haddonfield, Illinois, Halloween night, 1963. And as I was showing you guys over there, there's the tree, and then the camera moves and shows the Michael Myers house. And then it gets closer and closer, and then you see 2 shadows, what would be Michael Myers' sister and her boyfriend right there. And then the camera backs up and follows this way because obviously they moved over to like the living room area. And then they come over here and he looks through the window where he can see his sister and her boyfriend making out right here. And then the camera kind of turns over this way, but then quickly it turns back this way and it comes back around. And then it shows the window up there and you can see the light turn off. Once the light turns off, Michael Myers walks back this way and he goes all the way back here, and there's a door where he walks into, which is right there. And there's the door that he walks into. And then the rest, you know what happens. But yeah, here's the back of the house, which I don't think I ever showed this side here of the house. How cool. Isn't this awesome? I freaking love it. But I just freaking love this house. I love this house so much. And you can probably see a little bit through the window. Let me see what this thing says. I freaking love that there's a pumpkin here. Roar. Let me see what it says here. It says, please do not knock. No one is going to let you in. I don't think you can see inside anymore though. They used to be able to see in there, but they put this thing now. That's so cool. And if you actually ever go in there, you can actually see the stairs that are on the left, and that's where Michael Myers was standing. But yeah, look how cool this house is. All the details. So cool. All right, probably gonna take a few pictures here, and then we do get to see the house again later on in the film. So I'm gonna look through my footage and make sure I get anything else. So once Michael Myers makes it upstairs, sees his sister, I believe, talking on the phone, sitting down. We all know what happens. Unfortunately, she meets her demise up there, and then Michael Myers is seen standing in front of the house, and his parents come and they take off his mask, and then slowly the camera starts to back up, and then it lifts up, and you get like a wide angle shot from like a top view, like kind of like a drone shot, and then that ends right there. Another time we see the house is once we're introduced to Jamie Lee Curtis, Lorie Strode, and she meets up with Tommy in the street, and you see them walking past the houses that obviously were over there, and then eventually they get to Michael Myers' house because their dad asked her to drop off the keys because somebody wants to go see the house. And so Jamie Lee Curtis is standing up here. She goes and drops off the key, and you get an angle from here the other direction, and you see Tommy here, but that's another time that we also see the house. Sorry. And then I believe the last time we see the house is when Dr. Loomis shows up with, I believe, Annie's dad, the sheriff, because they're looking for Michael Myers. So you also see the house, I believe, one more time, and maybe at the end. Maybe not, I'm not sure. But I think from my memory right now, that's the other time when I see where we saw the house. Sorry, I can't even speak. And then the very last time we see the house is right at the end of the movie. They quickly show the Michael Myers house. So then we see it at the end again. Guys, about. So there's a sign right here that's right across from the house, and it's telling you about the museum that I told you guys about that unfortunately is closed today. And yeah, just telling you to follow them on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. So yeah, it's a shame that they're closed. Guys, welcome to Haddonfield. Right behind me is the establishing shot once we're in present day, and on the screen you'll see Haddonfield and then Halloween. Is right here. You can clearly see this light post in the shot and that stop sign, but it's right here. And like I said, you'll see in the screen Haddonfield and then Halloween. And you'll see, I think, about 2 leaves that fall down. So let's, I grabbed some leaves here. I'm gonna try to recreate it. I believe it's 1 leaf. Could be more, but I believe it's 2 that you see. So here we go. Oh, you couldn't even see it. Let me try the other way. All right, here we go. That didn't even help. All right, let's do this again. Hold on. And maybe like down here. That's not very good. It's kind of hard to do it, actually. Hold on. I don't really have much time left to finish this video, which stinks, but I did it in my first video when I did this, and I was with a friend, It was a lot easier because she helped me with it. There you go. There's the establishing shot. Alright guys, so now I'm in the neighborhood of Lorie Strode's house. That is Lorie Strode's house right there. I've been here many times before. I would suggest going back to one of my older videos because the current owners of this house were amazing. They would leave a pumpkin out with a paper with pictures from the film showing you where Lorie Strode was sitting on the stoop, and it was just really special. But anyways, right now I'm sitting at the bench where there is a memorial, and I want to show it to you guys before I run the scenes here at the Lorie Strode's house. And it's right here. I believe that I showed you guys this before. Yeah, I did. So, in living memory of Mustafa Akkad, known to the world as the godfather of the Halloween film series, your legacy lives on, filmed in South Pasadena in 1978. So he was the producer and creator of the Halloween films. I believe the first 8 Halloween films. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. But what's really cool is that right here is another filming location for another Halloween film. I'll put it on the screen because I'm running on empty right now, to be honest with you guys, but I'm gonna go ahead and run the scenes of the Lorie Strode's house. All right, I quickly had to go buy a pumpkin because I didn't have one and I didn't know if they were gonna have one available for me. So I'm gonna run through the scenes real quick before I show you guys. So right after the first establishing shot of the current Halloween night, 1978, we get a shot right here. And then I want to say it might be closer because when it pans over, you directly see Lorie Strode's house. So it might be over here. So you get like a shot this way and it slowly turns over and you see Lorie Strode coming out of her house over here on this corner. And ooh, they have some decor going on. That's cool. I haven't been here in a while, but they have some cool decorations going on. Oh my gosh, that is awesome. They have a Judith Myers gravestone right there. That's freaking awesome. All right, I'm gonna go grab my things and do this over again. Okay, so I want to say the scene opens up right here after that establishing shot of the current day Halloween of 1978. And the camera is right here and it pans over and it passes the tree. And that's when you see Lorie coming out of her house right there through that door. And then she comes out, and I believe the camera follows her this way. How freaking awesome is that? And then you get an angle this way, and then her dad comes out, and she's like, hey, don't forget the keys. And you see him standing right here, and he's telling her not to forget the keys. And then you see a shot of Lorie walking this way until she makes it over to the stoop where she sits down and waits for Annie. Yeah, those are my things on the ground, buddy. I should probably move my stuff. That lady asked me to borrow my pumpkin. I brought my pumpkin and she asked me if she can borrow it for a picture. I'm like, of course. So the camera kind of sits still as Lorie Strode walks out of the house and walks over, and then the camera kind of like stops, and then the next scene you see is this way and she walks that way. And then I believe it's like 3 different like takes, what it looks like to me. You say, don't forget to take the keys to the Myers. And then you see her walking that way and she's like, okay, I promise. And then you see her walking off and going that way. And then she goes over to the Myers house where she runs into Tommy, and that's the next scene. Right, so immediately after that opening scene at the Lorie Strode house, she comes out of the house passes the house here, and then starts walking over to the Michael Myers' house where she runs into Tommy. The next time you see the house, I believe is when she's walking back from school, and the direction she's walking is from this side over here. Then there's another scene when she's sitting on the stoop waiting for Annie to pick her up. So let me show you guys. All right, then there's the other scene when Lorie Strode is coming home from school, and you can barely see the stoop. It's like maybe like over here or something, but she's walking from over here, and she walks up to the house, and she hears some kids, like, sounds like they're screaming. So she comes back to investigate what happens, and the camera points the camera this way, and she realizes that they're just having fun. And then they show her standing, I believe, right here. And I think she says something about, I thought you outgrew superstition or something, kid, something like that. But that's where she was standing for that scene. I'm going to show you guys the house from that corner and all the way over in a little bit. But that's another scene. And then the next one would be her sitting in the stoop. So I'm going to go over that scene now. All right, for the stoop scene, you see her again coming out of the house. She's holding the pumpkin in her hands and a sweater or jacket, and the camera just kind of follows her, I believe, this direction. I think it's this way. And then she walks over and sits down over here at the stoop, and she's holding the pumpkin. And she's actually sitting on this one right here. This is the one she's sitting at, so the angle would be like right over here. And it's that famous shot that everybody comes and sits down and gets their picture taken, but it's right here. And she kind of waits, and she looks to her right, and I believe this is the angle that you see, but when she looks to the other direction, it's not actually this. It's supposed to be somewhere else and not here. But here is the famous stoop angle right here. How cool, huh? She moves over. All right, guys, so here I am at the Lorie Strode house. And here is the famous stoop that she sat in, waiting for Annie. That's right. How cool is this, huh? You know what's really cool? Even though the last owners were amazing and they always left the pumpkin out for you to take a picture with, these new owners have also their own little thing, because they have left little nods here and there from the film. So let me show you. So I'm just gonna show you the house from this angle as well. Beautiful house, by the way. Yeah, I really love this house. All right, let me show you around a little bit here. Like I said, there's like little nods to the film. Oh my gosh, I've never noticed that it says Michael right there. You guys see that? And by the way, this is Oxley Street and Fairview in Pasadena. I should have said that earlier, but look, it says Michael right there. It's funny. And then there's my pumpkin. And then we got some cool cats. You should be very, very afraid. This is awesome. Oh no, one of their witches fell. And then look at the cats, this is cool. And then you can see Michael Myers right there. You look closely. It's kind of hard to see him. Let me see, maybe if I move over. You can see him kind of right there. And then they got this awesome Judith Myers gravestone here. And then there's something over here too. Oh, the Strode Realty. Oh my God, that's awesome. That's freaking awesome.
Is that Pumpkinhead scary?
That's so cool. All right, so this is where Lorie Strode crosses the street. You see her cross the street right here and walks over this way. It keeps on going. And this is where she meets up with Tommy. And Tommy is coming from this direction over here. And he's talking about all these things he wants to do. And then they cross the street and walk over to the Michael Myers' house, which is the actual location. Since, you know, we don't have... This is where I was earlier. And then, yeah, they walk up to the Michael Myers' house. And this is when she stops to go get the keys, or to drop off the keys. And then when they start walking, the camera kind of follows them this way. I feel like the angle's like here, and you can see the stop right here as they're going. And then they walk down this way. Down that way. And Michael Myers is actually watching her walk out. So yeah, so it would have been right here. She walks up to the house and drops off the keys. But this is would have been the location. And then one thing I didn't mention earlier, this house right here is from Halloween H2O. So I forgot to mention that that is another Halloween house right across the street. And then again, the real location now of the Michael Myers' house is down the street over there. And then after she drops off the keys, she keeps walking that way and she's singing. And Michael Myers is actually watching her as she's walking straight that way. So I just wanted to point that out too. But yeah, so cool. Some of it, you know, some of it looks the same and then some of it does not. Oh, so right here, this is where Lorie, Linda, and Annie are walking towards their houses from school, and they come around the corner right there. I believe there was a tree right here that now has been cut off, so you don't see it anymore. Also, you don't see the stop sign that I can see next to me here, but as they're walking, they cross the street, and then down over here, a couple blocks down, is where the Speed Kills scene takes place. So let me show you. I'm gonna run this scene really quickly here. So you first see Lorie and Linda, and they're walking up towards the camera. And Annie's kind of walking a little far behind. So the girls are walking, then they stop and let Annie catch up. And then they keep walking. And I believe they cross the street right here. So I'm kind of just trying to do this as best as I can. So they cross the street. Things do look a little different around here. And then eventually, as they cross the street, they make their way over here. And you do see this house right here for like a second or so in that scene. So you see this house, and then the girls are standing right around here. Now we're in the Speed Kills scene. This is where Michael Myers was driving down when Annie screams out, "Hey, Speed Kills!" And he stops. You can actually see that brick road, or that brick wall right there as he stops the car. And you can also see that light post right there. I believe he stops after that light post. And as you can see, things are gonna look different because there were so many trees over here. And it was these huge, beautiful trees that were all on this side of the street. The last time I came, they were here. So maybe I'll insert a picture, like an old picture, but anyways, you can see this brick wall right there as Michael Myers is driving by. And then when she yells out, "Speed kills," he stops right where that car is. And then you get like a close-up shot through the trees, like maybe there. And he kind of pauses for a little bit and then keeps driving off. And she's like, "Geez, I guess no one can take a joke," or something like that. And yeah, and then the girls keep walking. And then eventually they make it to Linda's house and Annie's house, and then the hedge. So we're gonna head there next. So this is the street where the girls continue to walk, and eventually we get to Linda's house and then Annie's house. And this is also where the hedge is, and where you know, the hedge where Lorie sees Michael Myers. So let me show you guys. The camera is it's like a wide angle. Hold on. All right. So the angle is like out here. It's like a wide angle shot, and you see the girls walking through the trees. And then the camera, I believe, the angle changes. They kind of follow them a little bit, and you see them pass this house, which looks almost exactly the same. And they keep going. And then eventually we get to Lydia's house, which would be this one right here. So the camera kind of follows them talking, and then Lydia goes off to her house, and then they keep going, and then there is the famous hedge right over there. And this is where Lorie Strode sees Michael Myers. And she's like, "Did you see that?" And she's like, "What?" And she's like, "I thought I saw somebody there." And so they keep walking. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show you guys, but you clearly see this house in the shot. And then here's the famous hedge. Oh my God, how cool is that? They have a sign that says, "Welcome to Haddonfield." That is awesome. So here's the famous hedge where he is. And Annie's teasing her here. She goes like that and realizes nobody is here. And I believe this one right here is Annie's house. And this is also where Lorie is like not really looking, and she runs into the deputy, and he startles her. And yeah, here's the famous hedge. And as you can see here, look how there's barely any grass. It's because of all the people that have stood right here to be Michael Myers. So cool. All right, I'm gonna like look through the scene and then try to recreate it as best as possible. And I want to double check that I have everybody's house correct. Let me look real quick. Because I know for a fact that one over there is Linda's house, but Annie's house is, I have it all written down here. Okay, 1017. So no, this is not Annie's house. So I guess they keep walking, because hers is 1017. 1017 is actually the next house over. So sorry about that. This actually is Annie's house right here, 1017 Brackett Avenue, I believe. It's just the address. But yeah, this is where that whole scene took place. So I guess this is where she ran into the deputy more right here. Anyways, I gotta go through the whole scene, and then I'm gonna, that was just like a rehearsal. So let me go through the scene, watch it one more time, and then I'm gonna try to recreate it as best as I can. All right, I'm gonna try to do this again. Okay, so the camera is kind of like across the street, but it's more like, let me start over here, because it's kind of cool the way they made that scene. I don't really know how they did it, but so the camera starts over here. The girls are walking here on the sidewalk, and the camera's just kind of following it this way. And the camera kind of meets up where this house is and meets up with the girls. And then all of a sudden the camera is right in front of them. And then they're walking, and they keep going. I'm trying to go as fast as the camera does, but I don't know that I'm gonna get it exactly the same. But then eventually right here is when Linda crosses over and goes to her house. And you can kind of see her house because the camera kind of does this, I think. And then immediately is when you see the hedge. So the camera doesn't actually turn like this and shows you the hedge. It goes from here to the hedge. And then so then you get this shot. And then that's when Lorie says, look. And Annie's like, look where? She's like, there. Like she was like saying that there was like someone there. So then I believe, I gotta look again, but I want to say the camera follows it this way, but then also shows Lorie Strode's face as they're walking this way. So you get like an angle this way and an angle this way right here. Okay, so after Lorie sees Michael Myers standing there, you know, he's standing there for a second, then he jumps off to the other side, and obviously he goes away. And then, you know, she's telling Annie, I know I saw someone there behind the bush. So Annie comes over here, she's walking, and she's let me see, I'm gonna do it from this angle first and then the other angle, but she's just like, hey, creep. And then she realizes nobody's there. But then the angle you're seeing it at is, you see that, but the camera's actually here. So when Annie walks up and she does that, she's walking this way. She's like, hey, creep. And then I forget what else she says, but the angle is right here. And then you can see Lorie Strode coming up, and she's like talking about like, you know, he wants to take you out or something like that. But then eventually they keep walking, and they keep walking this way, and they pass this house right here. So they're walking this way. So yeah, they keep walking. And like I said, you can see this house briefly. And then the next house down is Annie's house. So they walk this way. And then there's another bush here. And then you see Annie take off and go inside her house, which is this one here. And then Lorie Strode is still kind of, I think she's like still looking back. She keeps looking back and forward, and then she bumps into Mr. Brackett right here. And she's like, oh, excuse me, Mr. Brackett, or I'm sorry. And then I think that's when you get the famous line that Mr. Brackett says, it's Halloween, everyone's entitled to one good scare. I think that's right. Yeah, this is where it all happened. And there is Annie's house. And I'm sorry that I'm having to speed through everything because of the rain this morning. I wasn't able to get anything done. So now I'm trying to rush through everything. I still have both of the schools to go to, and then I wanted to go to the last houses from the babysitting scene at the end, and I don't think I'm going to be able to make it. It is now 6:23 p.m. So I'm going to go now to Tommy's school, and then I'll try to get to the high school as well. So let's see. Alright guys, so welcome to Sierra Madre Pioneer Cemetery. This is the cemetery that Dr. Loomis came to see Judith Myers' grave. And when they're walking towards the grave, you can see a gravestone that says Sinclair behind them. So I'm going to show you exactly where that is. The car pulls up towards the camera, and if you actually zoom in, you can see that stop, where it says stop on the ground written there. You can actually see that on the shot behind them. So the car pulls up and it stops about here or so, or maybe where my rental is, maybe about there or so. But in that shot, you can see this grave and this one right here, or this stone and this one right here. So you can see those two. And then eventually they start walking, and the guy, which I think his name is Taylor, don't quote me on that, but he starts saying Judith Myers. And then he says, I want to say he says, shoot, hold on. Okay, so when they get out of the car, they both walk out the guy this way, Dr. Loomis comes out this way, and you hear Judith Myers, and then it's row 18, plot 20. And I believe they go somewhere around here. I don't know exactly which way they go, but I'm going to try to look at the footage again and see if I can figure it out. So when they get out of the car, so as they're walking up, it's like over here. The angle's like this way right here. And then the angle kind of changes when they park the car, and it's like right here. Then they come out and they start walking. The car is parked right here facing the camera, so I should have just parked my car there, but you know. But anyways, as the camera is following them, they're walking along this road, and you can see the car, right? And I don't know how much further they walk this way, but eventually they start walking, you know, into this area. Okay, and they're walking, the camera's kind of following them. I'm just trying to do the best that I can here. All right, and then when Dr. Loomis says, "Where are we?" This is the tree that you see right here. This tree right here. So I think this is the spot where he says, "Where are we?" And he stops right here. And he's like, oh, over here. And then they keep going. And then you're going to see the Sinclair grave right there. I really wanted to capture exactly which way they came in, but I'm gonna try my best because I feel like this tree is behind them when Dr. Loomis says, "Where are we?" So I don't know exactly which way, but I feel like, you know, they're coming from this road, right? And I don't know if I parked in the exact same spot as they did, but like the camera kind of follows them this way, right? So I'm gonna go backwards instead of the other way that I did. And then I feel like when Dr. Loomis says, "Where are we?" This is where they are, and this is the tree that you see. I'm gonna back up a little bit, but I believe this is the same spot where he's like, "Where are we?" And then that's the tree. And then if they keep going, then you can see the Sinclair right there. Hey guys, just a quick little voiceover here because I don't know, now that I'm editing, I'm not sure if I was correct in pointing out, like right there, I'm trying to point out where I thought the Judith Meyer open grave was supposed to be. I'm not sure if I was correct. So I just wanted to just point that out here in case you guys notice that it's not correct and you're going to let me know in the comments. I am not sure if I was right, so just want to let you know. This little bluebird has been flying. He was actually on the Sinclair and a little while ago, but then he flew over there. Look how cute he is. Hey, buddy. Yeah, he was over here earlier. This is the street that you see Annie and Lorie driving down while Michael Myers is following them. And as you can see behind me right there is a hardware store. So the car is coming from this direction and the camera is facing the hardware store. So I'm going to show you what spot Michael Myers' car stops while Lorie and Annie keep going. I believe these right here are new, so it doesn't look exactly like it in the movie, but when Michael Myers' car stops, well, not really his car, is it? But he stops next to a tree, and I think it's this one, but then there's another one down there. But I believe when he stops, you can see the Pasadena Historical Museum across the street. So I feel like it's more right here. So I feel like his car stops right here and Annie and Lorie keep going and you can see the hardware store in the background back there. But I believe this is, and then when that scene opens up, I think the camera goes this way and follows Lorie and Annie driving, and then you'll see Michael Myers' car come in and stop right here. And then immediately right after is when Annie and Lorie drive up to the hardware store and stop because Annie sees her dad right in front of it. So let's walk over there. All right, guys, so as you can see right now, I'm right across the hardware store, which is also across the street from the Michael Myers' house, as you can see right there. So I'm going to show you quickly what happened at the hardware store. And the reason why Annie runs into her dad in front of the store is because the hardware store was broken into and he was finding out what happened. And so yeah, so they stop, and basically the car drives directly across and stops right here, and her dad is standing right here, and you know that they were smoking and stuff, so she's like, quick, put it out. And they have a little conversation, and then they end up driving away. And then once they drive away, the camera's on that side, and then Dr. Loomis comes up and he wants to talk to the sheriff. So I'm gonna try my best to walk directly across, but I don't know that I can. This is a very busy street, so I may not be able to do that. All right, I don't think I'm gonna be able to do what I want to do. I think it's far too dangerous. So I'm just going to pretend that I'm walking towards the building, and then I'm gonna cross the street the correct way and just go stand up front and show you a little closer look at what is now a restaurant. So I'm gonna make my way over there. All right, so here is what's supposed to be the hardware store, and as you can see, it's a restaurant now. Back then there was a different awning that kind of looked like stripes right here, and I can't get to, like, literally there's the road and there's cars gonna be driving by, so I can't really get too far back, but this could be kind of an angle that you see as the sheriff is talking to Annie, and she's like, what happened? And he's like, oh, somebody broke into the hardware store, probably some kids with knives or whatever. And this is the view that you see of Lorie and Annie and their car. And then Dr. Loomis's, after they drive off that way, Dr. Loomis's walks up this way and wants to talk to the sheriff, and he's like, give me about 10 minutes or something, and he waits around. And as Dr. Loomis is standing there, I believe it's like right here, Michael Myers is like right over there. And in that moment, he drives off right behind Dr. Loomis, and he doesn't even notices and drives off that way. So I think that's such a funny scene. It's dark now, but I'm actually at Tommy's school, which is an elementary school, and they also use one of the classrooms where they filmed Lorie Strode inside, and she's looking out the window. They also used one of the classrooms in this school for that scene. But this is right here, the school. You can barely see because they have all this stuff over it, but this is where Tommy it's getting bullied, and they trip him and he drops the pumpkin. But that all happened right there. It's just really hard to see now. How much I can show you from here. Yeah, as you can see, this is the school. At least you can see a little bit, but this is the school. And this, you can actually see that hand railing to the left in the shot. And yeah, this is where the boys were bothering him, and he drops his pumpkin here, and then Michael Myers shows up, and then you can see him walking. But this is all that I'm going to be able to show you. But yeah, he walks down this way. Michael Myers' car is right here, and he follows him around, and Tommy keeps going past the classrooms this way. But yeah, at least I can show you a little bit of the school. And then, like I said, one of these classrooms, I don't know which one. I feel like, I don't know where it is, but what you see across the street, remember how Lorie's looking out the window? I don't know if this is it right here, because I don't know. It might be like on the other side over there. I couldn't really show you guys, but I wanted to at least make it over here because I've never been able to come here. But yeah, that's that. Yeah, this is Tommy keeps walking down this way right here. You can barely see it, but Yeah, so he walks across this way and straight that way. And I think you kind of see this spot right here for a little bit, but yeah, it just sucks that it's all dark now. Okay, I wasn't gonna come to the high school, but because there's so much lighting here, I can quickly show you. But this is the exteriors of Lorie's high school, and a lot has changed here, but these stairs were not here when they filmed. And right here is where they placed the Haddonfield High School sign right here. And then over here, you can barely see, but back here is where the girls were coming down the hall. They were coming from here. This gate wasn't here. And then there was lockers to the left. But this is where the girls are walking down, which it's hard to see it, you know? And I'm not tall enough to show you guys. Maybe this way. But that is the same hall that the girls are walking towards the camera. And then they walk this way. And they walk in this direction. And there was a fence here. And then they're walking this way. And like I said, that is where the Haddonfield High School sign was placed, right there. So at least, you know, I wasn't gonna come, but I'm like, you know what, I might as well. And this is South Pasadena High School, by the way. But yeah, at least you can at least see a little bit. Hey guys, so I made it back to the hotel. It is about 8:30 p.m. and where do I start? So, all right, so for this trip, and as you can see by my paper, Halloween was always the plan, to do these locations, to post on Halloween day. And I had reached out to my best friend, letting her know that I was gonna be here, and she wanted to meet up. And I said, yeah, I do want to do some filming locations, so maybe we can get together in the morning before I go off and do locations. But last night she reached out to me. She's like, hey, just so you know, it is raining right now and is expected to be raining until tomorrow at 2 p.m. And I'm just like, why do I always have obstacles? So I was already like super mad. I'm like, no, like, and then I looked up the weather, and then I saw that it was gonna be cold too, and I'm like, you know, because I had like a whole outfit picked out. I was cosplaying as Michael Myers. I had this cute little romper that I was gonna be wearing all day, and I'm just like, why do things have to go? Anyways, sorry guys, I'm going through so much right now, and I promise that I'm gonna go live soon, and I'm going to have a chat with you guys and let you know what's been going on. But yeah, so that was happening. So I said to her, you know what, I don't know now what time I'm gonna do the filming locations. Let's just go meet up as soon as you can. I left here around 8:30 because I had to go pick up the rental at 9 a.m. I got the rental and went straight to Pasadena. And like I said, went to the store, bought a pumpkin, then had Starbucks and waited for her there. And it was raining the entire time. Like, it was raining more there than it was raining when I left here. And I was just like, man, like, because when I left here, I was feeling pretty good, because I'm like, well, it's not raining, it's just super windy and cold, but it wasn't rainy. And then as I was driving to Pasadena, the rain just kept going, like kept coming down and harder and harder. And I'm just like, and I get to Pasadena and it's just raining. And I'm like, I can't make a video like this. Like, it's like, who's holding an umbrella and trying to record and trying to take pictures? I'm like, no. So anyways, her and I decided to have lunch instead, because we were just going to like meet up for a little bit, and then I was going to do the filming locations and then meet up with her again later on. And then so we decided to go have lunch, because since the day was still really crappy. And then after lunch, it was like 1 p.m. and that's when I started my filming locations, and it finally cleared up. And so yeah, unfortunately I didn't get to all these spots. There was 3 that I really wanted to go to today, such as Smith's Grove Sanitarium Gate. That was in Los Angeles. Another spots that were in Los Angeles that I didn't get to go to was towards the end of the movie, the Wallace and Doyle residence. Those are in the same neighborhood in Los Angeles, and I really wanted to show you guys those houses, and I have never seen them myself, so I really wanted to do that. And then the other spot I didn't get to go to was, oh, when Dr. Loomis is talking on a payphone. I wanted to go to that area too, which looks very different today. And yeah, and then both of the schools that I went to, it was just so dark, and you know, so yeah, I didn't really get to see them the way that I wanted to and show them to you the way that I wanted to present them to you guys. So I guess that just means I'm gonna have to try again. But I'll tell you what, if I decide to do these locations again, I don't think I'm gonna do every single one again. I'm gonna definitely go to the ones that I didn't go. Definitely go back to the Michael Myers house, and the Lorie Strode house and the hedge, and then do the rest that I didn't do. And then maybe wear my outfit that I didn't get to wear. Gosh darn. But anyways, other than that, I hope that I've done a decent job. I was rushing all day because since I didn't have a lot of time, and there was times where it looked like it was about to rain again, and at some point it did rain again when I got to Lorie Strode's house. And then by the time that I set up all my stuff, it stopped raining again. I was like, thank God. But yeah, it was just a very challenging day. So I really hope that you guys still enjoy this video. At least I got to some locations I had never been, such as the cemetery, which I make sure to go there immediately because I knew that that place would close at 5 p.m. and I didn't want to not be able to get in. And I don't know, Halloween is just around the corner, even though you guys are going to see this on Halloween day. So, by the way, happy Halloween. Please be safe today. I hope you guys have a great time. I think I mentioned, I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time with everything going on in my life right now, remembering things. But I want to say that I said that I will go live, so I will let you guys know on a post here on YouTube when I do decide to go live, so we can have a little chat. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for the likes and the comments. I'm sorry that I haven't responded immediately like in the momentum that I had going for a while. It's been a tough year for me, and unfortunately things are not great right now, and I'm trying to get through it. I'm trying not to get emotional. I'm trying to put one foot in front of the other, and so I apologize that I have not posted too much, which is why I've been doing my little shorts and opening up silly things, because those things make me happy. And that's it. So I hope that you guys have a great Halloween, like I said, and I will talk to you guys very soon. And yeah, thanks for watching. Take care. Bye.